We are live. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
It's so nice to be here. I feel
Yes,
like this is going to be really fun for us both and for everyone listening back on the podcast as well. And I think both of us want to start by just introducing ourselves and then going into like what brought us together and kind of what is our intention for this mini series and what that mini series is going to unfold into as well.
exactly.
Do you
So
want to
you can
start, Andrea?
start.
Yeah, so obviously I'm Emma. So if you're listening on my podcast, you've probably heard me many times and everything I do. I focus on NLP in coaching and I'm a healer as well. This work to me, I think what brought me together with Andrea is we both have similar values in what we want to create, which is like establishing and building something from this place of connection. And that was really what this was about for me, this venture, this new unfolding in this connection that we're creating, is this space for people to really experience that connection, not only with themselves but also other people in this industry. I think throughout this crazy kind of few years of building business and entrepreneurship, it can get quite lonely and it can get quite overwhelming at times. And then when you start to realize there's lots of people around you that are experiencing the same thing and you connect with them and you speak with them, it really brings a sense of peace to you because you realize, oh, we're all the same, we're all going through the same thing. So that was kind of like the intention for me to wanting to do this work. And I mean, we connected through podcasting, so it made sense that we ended up kind of
Yeah.
going into this mini series and creating this podcast series together as well.
Yes, after the pandemic, we missed a lot doing gatherings, circles, especially as women, because we we are born to be together, to be in communities, to share our emotions. So we were like met, felt the same vibe, um, resonated a lot with each other, and then thought of creating a podcast series, and then also a physical retreat together in Ibiza, which we are really excited to tell you more at the
Mm.
end. But what I love about us the most is that we have similar things, but we also have complementary things. So I
Mm.
am more on the visual part, on the design. Emma is more with words, with expressing her emotion through words. So once we started co-creating this project, everything like started building together because we would both
Mm.
have gifts that would come together in a perfect way. So, and we also had some unbelievable signs. Like,
Mm.
I started more in the, like, we will talk more about masculine and feminine, but I used to be really masculine and doing and on my head and logical. And in the past years, mostly with the pandemic, when I started getting really deep into healing, I started to believe in the power of the universe and seeing all sorts of synchronicities and signs. And with Emma and I was like, I have goosebumps in this moment when I remember, like, every time like we were talking about a thing, that thing came in our reality the next day. Or we were talking, I just saw a dragonfly, and then I saw a dragonfly on the street. And these signs and synchronicities that were guiding us, that this is your right way, do this, share with this,
Mm.
with the world, create this project. And the most unbelievable thing that happened was with the name of the retreat. Like, for 2 months, I think we tried to create the name, and we were starting to, propose different names, both of us. And then Emma sent me a message, and she says, "What about Sakura?" Like,
I
I
was in a
felt,
meditation, wasn't I? And I had an image of
yes.
this flower just come to me, and I was like, "Oh, it's a sakura flower. Like, what about this?"
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, once I was listening to her message, and I was using my hand lotion. And I looked on the bottle. I received that hand lotion from one of my friends, but I never looked on the label to see how it's called or something like that. And I look on the label and I see Sakura. and hand lotion. And I was like, what the fuck is happening with this retreat and this project that we are co-creating together? Because it seems like the universe is yelling in our faces, just
Mhm.
it was too obvious that we needed to to do this. So here we are in our first episode where we
Yeah, and
will
I
talk about um, how to lead from within, from the heart, from the intuition. So we will start with, let's say, the basic of conscious leadership, which is listening to your emotions, to your feelings, and we will have this sort of, on and off, on and on. Discussion both of from our expertise, and let's share a little bit of what we are doing, so our listeners can understand how our work is similar and yet different at the same
mm,
time. And we will share from our expertise and from our years of coaching. And if you have questions, you can leave them in the description of the podcast, or you can ask them at the end of this live session. So you can start, Emma, to share a little bit
mhm.
about how your beautiful work in Ibiza and in the online space.
Yeah, so for me, thank you for that introduction, Andrea. For me, my a lot of my focus has been working with high performance entrepreneurs and CEOs, particularly men I work with, or very masculine dominant women. And the big, I guess, central part of the work I do, the core of the work I do, is really about coming back to this place of aliveness and what it feels like to be really human and really connect with actually understanding that our emotions are there to serve us, all of our emotions. So I've always, on my own personal healing journey, liked to dive quite deep into dark aspects of myself, to more challenging emotions. And that's now the journey that I take other people on, really going and accessing these emotions that we often repress or run away from or hide, and actually start to see the gems and the wisdom that's in them. And this is a process that I like to see is like starting with that awareness and that acknowledgement of these emotions, and then diving into the more actual expression of those emotions. So through the
Mm-hmm.
body, through the voice, through the whatever kind of connects in with you, so that then you can show up in your life like fully in your liberated self, fully in this free being of who you are. And another core aspect of that work is like the power and the resources are all within you. And I think this is something that we connected over as well, Andrea. It's like it's all within you, and it's just about remembering and rediscovering that within yourself by going on that journey. So that's the work that I do, and I focus using techniques from neurolinguistic programming. So as Andrea said earlier, I do like working with language and with words. They, to me, are the signposts into like deeper aspects of ourselves, and they connect us to feeling when we're not quite there yet with the body, when we're dissociated, when we're disconnected. So I like to provide that bridge to people to go into that using these techniques. For me, it's really about taking people on the journey that I've also walked. So for me, that is diving into those deeper parts. Andrea, you want to
Mm.
dive into what you do?
It's so beautifully explained. You see, you hear how good is she with words, and like everything she says is like a poetry. That's what I love
Yeah,
most.
it's a bit of a channel.
Um, yes, exactly. And for me, it's more of the visual space. I'm more with getting deeper into the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind, it's all about memories, imagination, visualization, feeling. And the feeling comes from what you see when you close your eyes. And what I experienced was mostly for me quite the opposite of you, where mostly women entrepreneur really in the masculine, because I feel like as our clients we attract the life lesson we overcame, because I
Mm.
was in the
Oh, we're still
masculine and
moving through.
or exactly, we are still
Mm.
experiencing, so we can teach further. For me, because I came from a masculine background, being more in my head, disconnected from my body, I attracted clients the same way. So the same type of clients I attracted, business women, really focused on strategy, like really logical in their heads and disconnected from their body, not knowing how they feel, what, what love feels like even the basic emotions, what pleasure
Mm,
feels like for them. So in our sessions, my journey with them was getting them down from the mind into the body.
mm,
So that's why I work with embodiment, with hypnosis. We, through sensations, through movement, we release the overwhelming thoughts, and you make the transition smoother from the overwhelming mind to the heart, to the true seat of
mm,
your intuition. Because that's maybe why sometimes we feel disconnected from the intuition, because we are too much in our minds, and because of that, like constantly running thought pattern, we cannot hear or feel into our intuition. So that's my core work. So that's why we complement each other so good, because we combine both masculine and strategy, but masculine and feminine energy, but you bring them into the feminine, and I bring them more into the you bring them more into the masculine, and I bring them more into the feminine. So it's a beautiful work, and we will
mm.
tell you today why it's important. So let's start with the actual talk now.
Yeah, let's dive into what we're going to go
Yeah,
into
I
today.
feel it's connected perfectly with what we are sharing now. Like,
Definitely.
why, first of all, why you should get into the masculine and feminine polarity as an entrepreneur. Maybe you didn't heard anything but about it, or maybe it's for you something. What I saw in most of the entrepreneurs that I'm working with, they were like, if I'm making money, why is it important for me to connect with my feminine energy, and why? Because that's why you get into a burnout. That's why you feel you don't know how you're feeling. You get stuck, you get confused with your direction in life, because everybody can make money, but not everybody can create a business that it also feels good and it's fulfilling and you can
Mm,
see yourself doing for many, many years from now on. So to avoid getting into that lost position or doing a thing, um, like repeating, maybe doing money as you did in your previous 9 to 5 job, doing the same in your business, and not creating a business, with a purpose, and doing something that you love and having a mission behind your business. So that's one of the reason why I tell my clients we should get into the feminine energy and masculine first, and then get into the healing and the rest of the steps. So this is the first step in my process. So why you should think it's important for entrepreneurs to start working with masculine and feminine energy from your
yeah,
experience,
I
Emma?
mean, I would take it to me, like for me, even taking it past those terms and just looking at the concept of like how important it is to approach business from this sense of wholeness. And I think
Mm-hmm.
if we don't experience that balance with these two energies that live within all of us, right? So whether you're male or you don't identify as a gender, or whether you're female,
Mm-hmm.
we have both of these energies within us. It's not necessarily relating to gender. So it's really about creating that balance within, so that that balance can be experienced without in the
Mm-hmm.
outside world. And to me, that's coming back to this place of wholeness.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like we can kind of get lost sometimes in the terms and the words and what the words mean. And really it's about like, what do you want to feel and what do you want to experience? As you were saying, Andrea, it's like you can create a business, you can build a business that creates a lot of money and a lot of income for yourself, but is that fulfilling for you? So a lot
Mm-hmm.
of my clients, they're very high level people, they're working, they're making a lot of money, and then they're still experiencing on a daily basis anxiety, fears, doubts, like things that are just taking them away from the enjoyment of the moment, the overworking, and they're not actually living the life in this place of aliveness. They're simply ticking tasks off the list, getting things done, right? Because at the end of getting things done, there's a paycheck. or at the end of getting things done, they're achieving a goal that they've been programmed to believe is fulfillment. But actually, when they achieve that goal, it doesn't really bring fulfillment. And that's where I think having this balance and this sense of wholeness with this energies within us allows us to experience fulfillment through how we're actually showing up and how we're actually feeling in what we're doing, rather than, oh, what I'm doing is the source of my fulfillment, or the goal that I'm going to achieve through what I'm doing is the source of my fulfillment, is the source of my happiness. And it's like when you're in this balance of this energy, when you're in this wholeness, when you're connected to that deeper place within you, to the intuition, then you experience true wholeness, then you experience true balance. And this is what really allows you to not only create a business that you love, not only lead within that business, but also really enjoy it, which is, I think, a lot of us have forgotten about, because there is a big demand in even in our industry to kind of make it happen, to do the thing, that we actually are missing what's really important through this process, which is important through every aspect of the human experience, which is to be with it, to feel it, even in the challenging moments, even through the failures, through the pain, through the difficulties. Like, it's there to be experienced. And when we connect with these energies, when we bring a balance to these energies, that's what it allows us to really do.
Yes, very beautiful how you simplify things into masculine and feminine. It brings you balance. I love that so much. And we often think that getting to a 10K month or 100K month, or having having clients, or having all this, owning a car, a house, whatever, is what will bring happiness and fulfillment. But how many times in your life you set up a goal, and then you had that goal, and you, even for 1 second, you enjoyed that you accomplished that thing, and then your mind was, okay, next let's do 20K months, or let's have 2 cars, or let's buy a motorcycle. And it's never, or you get that thing, and you realize that, yeah, it's beautiful that you have that thing. Congrats, you're feeling amazing. But at the same time, it's not that it changed who you are, or it shifted your reality 180%. So that's why a conscious leader, from my point of view, is a leader that knows that a business is not built on physical and material goals, but it's built on emotions and feelings. Like, my goal when I created my business was to, because I was working like 12 hours per day every way, including weekends before, I decided that I want to have a family. So I want to have this business so I can have time for my family, but also to have some sessions, like 1, 2 sessions per day, and to make money and help people, and also have my time to enjoy it with my family and see my children grow up, and not miss on their on their childhood. So my emotion for me was freedom from the old schedule, was what you know helped me to go to all the tests that every entrepreneur has, and to invest and get over the fear of investment and so on. So that's why it's more, when it comes from the heart, you'll never lose. You'll never have
Yeah.
something to lose, but on the contrary, you have something to win. So this is my perspective on what a conscious leader leads a business. What's yours, Emma?
I really am resonating with what you've said there, like, built on feelings. I remember when I first started, and I was working with some different coaches at the time, and my first thing was like, I'm going to be a millionaire in a year.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, I'm going to
Yeah.
be a millionaire in 6 months, right? It was like
Yeah.
this thing, right? And there's nothing wrong with having
Of
these like
course.
money desires and money objectives and stuff. But this was the foundation that I was building my business on. Like, I'm going to be famous in 6 months as an interviewer. I'm going to, like, all of these things of what really at the depth of them, like when I started to do a lot of work around these things, especially like bringing in value work with NLP and working with the subconscious mind, it's like it was rooted in this need to be validated this need to be seen, that I wasn't actually allowing myself to be seen by myself. I wasn't validating myself. I wasn't seeing myself as worthy. So this drive to like create this external something that gave me this some form of like, oh, now you're enough. Now you're okay.
Yeah.
Now you're enough. And I was building a business from that place. And when you're building it from that place, you have this rush in you. Like, I need to make this happen. I need to do the thing. I need to go out, and I don't want to call this masculine energy, because to me, like, the doing is a very, very important aspect of business,
Yeah.
like following that pull and creating and actually building the structures that allow you to flow within that structure. But for me, what this was like this kind of like trauma response to everything I'd experienced in my life. And I was like, right, now I'm going to build a business to make up for everything that happened to me when I was younger.
Yeah.
And to me, this is unconscious leadership, because I was moving from traumas, I was moving from patterns, conditioning that wasn't who I really was, that wasn't actually how I wanted to show up in my life. So to me, like, when I started to understand like what is conscious leadership, to me, conscious leadership was being in service to myself first and foremost, so that then I could be in service to others, in service in a way that is connected to who I truly am, which goes beyond the concept of Emma, that goes beyond the concept of goals, that goes beyond the concept of this reality, right? Who I truly am is a soul that has been moved through many lifetimes, that has this unique blueprint, that has this unique way of seeing the world and gifts that she can bring to the world. And tuning into that and listening to that and moving from that place, all the external goals then kind of just fall to the side a little bit. Like, they're still there, they're still kind of, but they become more byproducts of what you create internally, of these internal experiences that you want to have, the fulfillment, the joy. So for me, similar to Andrea, freedom was a big aspect of that. But one of my biggest values was connection. Like, to build a business, to connect people, to connect more deeply with myself, because this journey of entrepreneurship has been probably one of the most challenging and at the same time most beautiful journeys of reclaiming my power, reconnecting with different parts of myself, understanding myself on a whole new level. And it's going to continue to do that, like, throughout this process. So to me, like, conscious leadership became about like, how can I move from my heart? How can I move from my soul? What does my soul want? Is this really like something that is like going to give me fulfillment? It's going to reflect back to me my truest desires of my soul? Or is it something I'm doing because I'm seeking validation for a trauma or for a pattern or some kind of past event that happened in my life, right? So conscious leadership is like shifting away from the pattern, shifting away from creating as a need to receive that validation and giving that to yourself first. Yeah, because sometimes, we want to listen to the intuition, we want to listen to the heart, we want to listen to the soul, but first we need to connect to the parts of ourselves that are in resistance to that, because we can't hear if we're not willing to also listen to the parts of us that are in resistance to that.
Yeah.
So the more I opened up, I realized, to me, conscious leadership was like, how can I move from the heart? How can I move from the soul?
And another thing that came up from what you said on how I see conscious leadership for me is that the business journey is a healing journey. So being a conscious leader means that you understand that once you decide to become an entrepreneur, then all the tests will come your way, and you'll have to navigate all
Everything.
these parts, as you say, from your past that remained unhealed. And we have, as you said, the need for validation, that it's really how do I say it, like social media activates that need for validation really hard, because the likes, the comments, the interaction, the follows, the numbers, the quantity, that it's so easy to start to associate yourself with.
Mm.
Also the need for, not only for validation but also for safety, because you leave a job that it's not like you're not happy, but at the same time it offers you like the same salary or a certain salary every month, and this brings you a little bit of safety in the first year of creating a business. Safety is the least thing you have. Like, you have sometimes high months, low months, sometimes you don't make any money, so it will, trigger this part of you that feels unsafe and it needs protection, and you need to start reparenting yourself and show this inner girl or inner boy that she's or he is safe. So there are a lot of things also. The fear of selling, the fear of being rejected, that also triggered the abandonment wound since we were between 0 and 3 years old. So can you see, like, since we were born, our business starts um, to activate those wounds. So
Mm.
a conscious leader will know that in order to create a successful business, does not only need to learn the strategy and do the action and take the daily steps, but also needs to do the healing, to have a coach or, somebody that can hold you along the way and reflect to you and tell you from the other side how all these phases are coming into your business. So, most of the entrepreneurs I work with, because I work most with starting coaches or entrepreneurs, they were like really surprised. I don't know why I feel so shitty. Like, welcome to the business journey. Like, this is the first lesson. So it's
Yeah.
becoming a conscious leader is understanding that for every level that you will be, like, even if you want to make $1 million and you've been in business for 10 years, you will have a lesson to learn to get to that $1 million. You will have a part of you that will come. Maybe the part of the fear of being seen by more people because you want to more make money, so you will get to a larger audience. So for every level, there's a new devil. So
Mm.
becoming a conscious leader will allow you to be aware of what lessons could be for every level that you are getting through. And I wanted to also touch a little bit on, we talked of what a conscious leader is, how to include intuition as a conscious leader. I wanted to touch a little bit on this.
What was
We
that?
said that we will offer some practical tools and techniques
Mm,
for the
mm,
entrepreneurs listening to us, for them to lead their business from their intuition. So what is your tool or a
mm.
practical technique that you can offer to our listeners to be a conscious leader using their intuition?
Mm. Like, first of all, I would curiosity was a huge part of my journey. Starting to get curious about what's coming up within me. So when I'm triggered, when I'm inspired, and start to see, like, where is this in me? Start to get curious, asking those questions that allows you then to be introspective and reflect on what life is actually trying to teach you. I also think, like, as much as we have coaches to work with us, we also have this incredible thing that is the mirror, that is
Yeah.
life constantly showing us things within us. So for me, it was about becoming more open, more curious. And the one way that I found has always supported me with that is meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really having, and you don't have to be sort of like, don't have to meditate in a certain way. For me, it took a while to kind of figure out the way that I liked to meditate. So personally, for me, it's complete silence and to sit with myself for an hour. Like, some people like to listen to guided meditations and things like this, but for me, it was about creating this space where I could listen to all the parts of myself come up. And we're often told in meditation, you need to quieten the mind. To me, that is not meditation. To me, it's like, I'm going to listen to all the things that are going on inside my head and
Mm-hmm.
inside of me, and start to get curious about them and start to ask questions. Oh, that's interesting that this thought is coming up at this particular moment in time. Like, what is this here to show me? And
Mm-hmm.
for me, what that allows you to do is like connect to all of these parts of you that are within you. And then when you're actually showing up in your life, you can start to see, oh, when I'm showing up in this way, it's actually coming from that young girl who experienced abandonment, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
what I can do for her in that moment is give her a little bit of love, allow her to feel the way she's feeling within me, and also still lead from this deeper place of the soul, of the heart, of their intuition, and then create from that space, because I'm allowing that part of me to feel that way, because through the meditation I've come to understand how she shows up, her narrative, how she speaks. And you'll
Mm-hmm.
begin to, like, as the more you practice with this, the more you realize like they have different voices, they have different ways they show up within
Yeah.
you. And it's really quite powerful to notice these things. And then for me as well, bringing in the body has been a really huge aspect on my journey of like dancing, of
Mm-hmm.
expressive dancing. Like, so when my emotions are not things that can be spoken or explained, I move my body. I let my body go wherever it wants to go. And I'll do this when I'm out. I go clubbing a lot. I love to go out and I love to go dancing, or I'll do it in my house or my room, and I'll just put on some music and I'll just let my body go wherever the hell it wants to go. And let it express. Like sometimes that's roaring and screaming and shouting and crying, and sometimes that's like making noises and like, or
Mm-hmm.
pleasuring myself with the dance. Like it's always different depending on what wants to come through. But when you allow yourself to express, it deepens your connection with your intuition, and again with those parts of you, because you're letting yourself know, you're letting your body know, your inner being know that it's safe for you to express, that it's safe for you to show up. And then when you are
Mm-hmm.
able to do this, you're able to quieten everything that's kind of going on, all the fears and all the doubts, and come back to center and then move from that place. So those are probably the two ones that I bring into pretty much most days of my life
Mm-hmm.
that help me to stay in this place of balance, when I'm actually stepping into the work that I do. And what about
Yeah.
you, Andrea?
Um, I use um, I use a really fast exercise, a quick exercise when I wake up, and that I teach my clients as well. Like, um, do you have, when you wake up and you're still in bed, like just check in, do like a body scan from the top of your head to the tip of your toes, and notice your body for that day. Do you have a high meditate? Do you have a, like, you're agitated, or you're like more calm, maybe even numb? And based, if you are really calm and low energy, then do a morning practice that can raise your energy. If you're like too energetic, do a morning practice that will help you to connect with your intuition, that will lower that agitation, that will, decrease those overwhelming thoughts. So if you are, let's say, if you are too agitated, you cannot meditate. Your mind will be all over the place, and you'll feel more frustrated after you're starting to do the practice, because, okay, let's connect to my intuition, blah 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 blah, and your mind goes to what you need to do that day and all those things and what you dreamed. And it feels like more frustrating when you try to do a practice that's not correct for what your body needs. And
Mm.
you'll see that if you repeat this 1 minute practice every day, you'll start to recognize what your body needs. So if you are really agitated, then I recommend you to move your body, to release that energy, and to shake it off, like to move with those thoughts or that anxiety or emotions. And if you are more calm, then you can do a meditation, because your mind is more quiet and you can focus a little bit more on connecting with your intuition for that day. But if you notice that you are agitated every day, and that your mind is all over the place and you experience anxiety, um, that means that there may be trauma that you need to heal. So it's, if you never try therapy or healing, it's really hard to try to meditate or do practices to connect with your intuition, because trauma lives in the body. So every every abandonment, every wound from the past, every heartbreak, everything that you experienced in the past is living in your body. So that's why when you cry or when you are sad, maybe you feel like a lump in your throat, or maybe you feel like a heavy stone in your heart, or maybe you feel like your feet are blocked and you cannot move. Those are traumatic memories from the past that lives in your body. So don't force yourself to do practices if you never did healing before. I recommend you start, uh, searching for a practitioner that works with trauma and release those things from the past, because until you release the things that are, creating those overwhelming thoughts or anxiety, it's really hard to connect with the intuition. You can do it by yourself, but it may take years. But instead, if ask for help and receive guidance for someone that is professional, you can shorten the time that it needs for healing. So if for you never work meditation or trying to be quiet, don't blame yourself. It's perfectly normal. We all have trauma from the past and we all needed to release it so we can connect with our intuition. And these are the things that we will be talking in this podcast series. And also these are the things like connecting with your body, with your intuition, with your emotions, so you can have a better business. To be a more conscious leader will also be the center theme of our retreat. So
Mhm.
we will combine Emma's expertise with NLP and words, and working with the masculine energy and feminine energy, and my expertise working with the subconscious mind and hypnotherapy and movement and embodiment. And we will combine these two worlds to create a retreat for entrepreneur, to help you, be create a business that's not only profitable but also feels good for you. And it will be in January in Ibiza.
Mhm.
And now you can share a little bit more about it if you want, Emma.
Yeah, I mean, we'll like I think we'll sort of give snippets away throughout as
Yeah.
we go through the series. But for now, if you're kind of interested and feeling called to like get some more information as we go along, you can head to the show notes or the description if you're watching on YouTube and jump onto the wait list, and you'll receive emails from us about all the information, and we'll have all the early bird discount prices available on there as well. And I think,
Yes.
reflecting on what Andrea said as well, like this is really for people that are feeling this like call right now to actually step into like who they're really here to show up as, and to connect with other women that are doing the same thing. This is not only for people that are starting, it can be for people that are already established and they're looking for that community to come back to self, to come back to wholeness, and to share that experience with other women that are going through exactly the same journey. And that
Yes.
is, I think, really, really important part of this work, that community building as well. So that's what our retreats are really going to focus on. Even though we're going to have that expansion, we're also going to be grounding in who we are and sharing that with others, which is a really big part of what it means to be human and what it means to be alive here.
Yeah. I feel like if we talk about conscious leadership, like the women or the entrepreneurs that will come into the space will be like-minded people who
Mm.
know deep down that business, leading a business is not what it used to be, that it will
Mm.
we are living a new paradigm of leadership, and we want more of this reality, we want more love, more, not
Mm.
only more money or success. I feel like this is so old school. I want to be successful. Yeah, okay,
Mm.
that's why what we wanted for all these years, and we stayed in
Mm.
corporation for, be promoted after working for 10 years. It's not about that anymore. It's not about having money and be sad. It's about having it all. It's about having the money, having the success, but also, having a fulfilled life and being
Mm.
connected with how you feel, and waking up from the morning and be excited. Oh my God, I get to lead this business. I get to have this life. I get to feel in my body all the what life has to offer. So we will
Mm.
talk more about the new paradigm of leadership in our next episode, so you can have a better understanding of what we are what we are talking about. And I hope you loved this episode. We loved sharing our expertise.
It was
uh,
fun. It was
yeah,
fun. It was good to
yeah,
like play with this and introduce kind of the concepts and introduce ourselves, and I think like this is going to get deeper and more expansive the more we go into this journey. I think that's another thing that is so important about conscious leadership is like letting go of this need for everything to be perfect and just
yeah.
embracing it all.
Exactly, very beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank
to
you.
everyone who's tuned in. If you have any questions for this episode, don't forget to leave them in the description if you're watching on YouTube, or you can head into the show notes and there's a way to contact both myself and Andrea there. You can reach out on DM. I think there's our emails there as well. So if you have any questions about this episode, about the retreat, then please do send us a message and we will be happy to get back to you. And join us live next time. I think we're doing the same time in 2 weeks, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
so Thursdays, I think 4 p.m. European time. What time is it?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's what 3 p.m. UK time. I don't know what time is
Mm-hmm.
that for US people.
For US, it's somewhere between 8 and 10 in the morning,
Yeah.
depending on what coast you are.
Yeah, okay. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, everyone who's listened to this. It's been such a pleasure to share with you all, and we'll see you next time.
See you.
Much love. Bye bye.
Bye.